The paperwork doesn't lie. And by the time we are done here tonight, that one sentence is going to feel less like an opinion and more like a court ruling with a stamp on it. So sit tight, pour something strong, close the other tabs, and let me walk you through what may be the messiest three-way collision of a concert shout-out, a deleted repost, and a midnight DM crash-out that this whole entire year has served us. Because Claressa Shields did it again. Papoose sat somewhere lurking again. Remy Ma stood in full Gucci again. And the internet, baby, the internet screenshotted every single second of it, forwarded it in every group chat that exists, and pinned it to the top of the timeline where nobody is going to be able to scroll past it for a long, long time. Before I go 1 inch further, tap that like button and tap it like you mean it, because we are about to log another chapter in a story that a two-time Olympic gold medalist told us on Angela Yee's own couch was closed for good. Every single like on this video is a receipt of its own. A receipt that says we heard the promise, we watched the promise get shredded in real time, and we are keeping the tab open with both eyes wide open. Hit subscribe while you are at it, because the paperwork is going to keep piling up, and I intend to read every page of it out loud for as long as Claressa Shields keeps handing us pages, for as long as Papoose keeps reaching for buttons he swore he was done touching, and for as long as Remy Ma keeps standing perfectly still while the whole neighborhood catches fire around her. Now let's start where the whole domino line begins, because none of this makes one drop of sense unless you see the layers stacked in the exact order that they fell. Cardi B, the same Cardi B who has never needed a public friendship performance to prove she has won, put out a video from her own concert, and in that video Remy Ma was right there beside her. Hugging her. Laughing with her. Standing in Gucci from her shoulders down to her shoes, looking like a woman who has never once in her life had to prove where her husband slept last night to a soul on this earth. Cardi B captioned it "real ass, real pretty," and she tagged Remy Ma directly. Not a subtweet. Not a coded caption. Not a vague post that could apply to anybody with a pulse. A direct, spelled out, front-facing tag with Remy Ma's name attached and the whole world watching. And the crowd, honey, the crowd for Remy Ma at that show did not clap politely. The crowd erupted. The crowd lost its mind. The crowd made the ground under Cardi B's stage move, and Remy Ma did not have to sing one note, throw one bar, drop one freestyle, or open her mouth one single time to earn any of it. She just walked out. She just existed. And the room bent toward her the way rooms bend toward wives, not toward mistresses, not toward placeholders, not toward the newest character in somebody else's ongoing drama. And I want you to keep that in your front pocket for the rest of this video, because it matters. It matters more than anything else that is going to happen tonight in these next 20 minutes. Cardi B follows Remy Ma. Cardi B does not follow Claressa Shields. Not a pity follow. Not a courtesy follow. Not even a "we ran into each other one time at an event" follow. Not a "we have mutuals" follow. Nothing. Because Cardi B and Remy Ma are a real friendship, and real friendships do not need to be constructed on camera to be believed. What Claressa Shields is trying to build on social media, baby, is not a friendship. It is a campaign. It is a marketing rollout. It is a public relations exercise dressed up as a life. And that campaign hit a brick wall the second Remy Ma got hugged on stage while Claressa Shields was somewhere at home, waiting for a phone that was never going to buzz, staring at a timeline that was never going to tag her name. Now enter Papoose. And listen, if you thought this story was already messy, this is the part where the whole floor gives out from under you and you land in the basement with the lights off. Because Papoose, Remy Ma's still legally married husband, Papoose the man who has spent an entire career carefully protecting his public image, Papoose the man who apparently cares so much about how he is perceived that his wife has said it on camera more than one time and more than 2 times, that same Papoose was allegedly sitting somewhere at midnight lurking on TSIS 50. Yes. TSIS 50. The fan site that 50 Cent himself founded back in 2008. The fan site that Papoose and Claressa Shields have both, in their own separate ways, gone to public war with 50 Cent about. Papoose was sitting on 50 Cent's own turf, scrolling 50 Cent's own house, watching the viral clip of Cardi B tagging his estranged wife go up in real time. And what did he do? He reposted it. With a middle finger emoji in the caption. And then, minutes later, he panicked and deleted it. The internet, baby, saw it. The internet screenshotted it. The internet does not forget the way Papoose apparently hoped it would. And the second that screenshot hit the timeline, everybody who has ever seen a man post something in a moment of weakness, panic, and then reach for the delete button already knew exactly what they were looking at. That is not the move of a man who is over it. That is not the move of a man who is at peace. That is not the move of a man who has, as Claressa Shields has told us over and over and over again, moved on with his whole heart and his whole life. That is the move of a man who saw his wife get the loudest ovation of the night from Cardi B's crowd, could not make it to sunrise without touching it, and could not make it 15 minutes past posting it without realizing what he had just confessed to the entire timeline. And here is the part one need everybody to sit with, because this is the whole thesis of the entire situation. Remy Ma got the shout out. Remy Ma got the crowd. Remy Ma got the Cardi B hug. Remy Ma got the tag. Remy Ma got the Gucci. Remy Ma got the viral moment. Remy Ma got the front page of every hip-hop blog by noon the next day. And Papoose, from wherever he was sitting that night, got a middle finger emoji that lasted about 4 minutes on a timeline before he yanked it back. That is the exchange rate the timeline is showing us. Remy Ma got the ovation. Papoose got the emoji. And somewhere in the middle of that math, Claressa Shields was about to walk out of the back room and make the whole equation 10 times worse for everybody attached to her name. Because somebody, and I do not know who they were and I do not know what their motive was, decided to send Claressa Shields the screenshot. And I understand the impulse. I really do. The internet is a demolition derby, and screenshots are the fuel that keeps the cars moving. That fan sent Claressa Shields a picture of Papoose's repost with a caption that said, "I guess they was at Cardi B concert together lol." Now, I am going to be honest with you the way I am always honest with you, that caption is not exactly what the screenshot actually proves. The screenshot proves a repost. The screenshot does not prove that Papoose and Remy Ma were physically standing next to each other at that concert together. And a woman who was actually secure in her situation would have read that message, laughed for 2 seconds, screen recorded it for the group chat, and closed the app. A woman with peace in her house would have looked at that DM and thought, this does not deserve a response of any kind. A woman who was actually where she claims to be would have set the phone down on the nightstand, rolled over, and gone back to sleep next to the man she keeps telling us is hers without a single interruption. Claressa Shields did not do any of that. Claressa Shields typed. Claressa Shields typed a lot. And what Claressa Shields typed is now on every blog on the internet with her name attached to it and a screenshot she cannot take back no matter how many attorneys she hires or how many press releases she signs. The first thing she fired off was a rejection of the whole premise. Girl, shut the flip up. Pap was here at the house. We together right now and last night. Claressa. Baby. If Papoose is genuinely at home with you, if he is genuinely on the couch next to you, if he is genuinely in the bed you keep insisting he sleeps in, why are you in a stranger's inbox at midnight proving it? Why are you constructing a timeline? Why are you drawing a map of his whereabouts to somebody you do not know, somebody you cannot verify, somebody who literally just sent you a screenshot for the specific purpose of baiting you? Secure women do not do that. Secure women read the message, chuckle out loud, and keep it moving without a syllable typed back. Secure women do not stand up an alibi in the DMs of a stranger, because secure women do not think they need an alibi in the first place. But if you thought that was where Claressa Shields stopped, then you have not been paying attention to this whole entire run of the story. Because when the fan clapped back and said, in effect, "We know your mouth a lie lol," Claressa Shields, the same Claressa Shields who sat on Angela Yee's show and looked into that camera and told us with a straight face that she was turning over a new leaf, that she was going to be more grateful, more humble, more mature, and that she was not going to be responding to strangers on the internet anymore ever again. That same Claressa Shields reached into her bag and pulled out the R word. She used the slur. In a DM. To a fan. Over Papoose. Over a man. That new leaf she promised us on Angela Yee's couch lasted, on the generous end, about 5 minutes. On the honest end, it never turned at all. It was flipped over just long enough for the camera light to blink red, and then it flipped right back to where it had been sitting for years. And she was not done. Oh, she was not close to done. She reached back into the bag one more time and typed an explicit sexual description of what Papoose was allegedly doing with her the night before. In a DM. To a stranger. On the internet. To prove that her legally somebody else's husband was in her bed. A two-time Olympic gold medalist, one of the most decorated boxers on the entire planet, a self-appointed role model for young girls who watch her, typed graphic sexual content to a person she did not know in an attempt to establish that a married man's location that night was her mattress. And she thought that was going to end the conversation. She thought that was going to shut the timeline down. She thought that was going to be the winning move. I need you to picture the room when that screenshot hit the group chats. I need you to picture the sound the blogs made when that dropped into their inboxes. I need you to picture Claressa Shields herself, sitting there in the seconds after she hit send, realizing that the paperwork of that message was going to outlive every single gold medal she ever won. Because that is what it is. That is her paperwork now. That message is a receipt she cannot appeal, she cannot reframe, she cannot spin, she cannot pay a publicist to bury, and she cannot delete. Papoose can delete his middle finger repost in 3 minutes and pretend it never happened. Claressa Shields cannot delete a screenshot from a stranger she voluntarily typed to at midnight with her own 2 thumbs. And the question that keeps ringing in my head, the one that I want every single one of you to answer for me in the comments below this video, is the one that host Stella asked when the story first broke wide open. Who was Papoose doing all of that with for the last 20-something years? Because whatever explicit thing Claressa Shields is describing, whatever thing she is so proud of that she felt the burning urge to blast it out in a fan's inbox at midnight to prove ownership, that thing is not new. That thing is not exclusive. That thing has a wife on the paperwork whose name is Remy Ma, and Remy Ma is standing in Gucci at Cardi B's concert with the loudest ovation of the entire night while Claressa Shields is using her boxing hands to type sex logistics to a stranger she has never met. So tell me. What exactly is she proving? Because from where the timeline is sitting, the only thing she is proving is that she cannot stop typing. The internet answered immediately, and the internet did not soften a single edge for her feelings. She is ghetto. She has no integrity. She is low vibrational. Nobody who is godly acts like this online. She does not have one clue how to be a lady with style and grace. And, honey, the internet was not wrong. Not one line. Not one word. Not one syllable. Not one time. Now let's swing back to the piece of theater Claressa Shields loves to trot out every single time somebody says the word married in a sentence about Papoose. Every single time. Without fail. The line is always the same. It's called divorce. Baby. That divorce is sitting in the same imaginary courthouse as her cease and desist against 50 Cent. There is no divorce decree. There are no active court proceedings that anyone in the general public can point to and verify. There is no parenting plan on the record for their minor child. There is a filing. That is it. That is the whole thing. That filing has been sitting there collecting dust and used as a prop, and every time Claressa Shields waves it around like it is a receipt of freedom, the actual paperwork keeps saying the same 3 words the whole story keeps saying. Still. Legally. Married. Papoose is still, at the time you are watching this video, legally the husband of Remy Ma. Right now. As you hear these words out of my mouth. That is not opinion. That is not gossip. That is not shade. That is the docket. That is the record. And Claressa Shields, the newly minted self-appointed role model, is out here typing sexual content to strangers in DMs to prove ownership of a relationship that has 0 legal recognition, while the actual wife on the paperwork is being tagged by Cardi B and hugged on stage looking like she has not lost a single hour of sleep over any of this. You cannot keep saying, it's called divorce, when there is no divorce, baby. A filing that never moves is called a wish. And wishes are not court orders. Wishes are not signatures. Wishes are not decrees. Wishes are not judgments. Wishes are not the same thing as a piece of paper handed down by a judge that separates 2 people in the eyes of the law. The paperwork doesn't lie. And here is where the whole thing folds in on itself, because I want you to notice the pattern nobody in the Claressa choir wants to name out loud. Remy Ma does not have to do a single thing to activate Claressa Shields. Remy Ma does not have to post. Remy Ma does not have to sub. Remy Ma does not have to tweet a single syllable. Remy Ma just has to exist. Show up to a concert. Get a Cardi B tag. Stand in Gucci. Walk off stage unbothered. And Claressa Shields, on the other side of the country, spirals into DMs, weaponizes slurs, drops explicit content, and hands the blogs a fresh crash out by breakfast. Meanwhile, nobody is streaming Claressa Shields' album Provocateur. Nobody is talking about her boxing card. Nobody is buying her merch. The only conversation that has her name attached to it right now is Papoose, Remy Ma, deleted reposts, and midnight DM meltdowns. That is her entire real estate on the timeline. That is it. That is the whole plot. And Papoose. Oh, Papoose. The man who Remy Ma has told us more than once cares deeply about how he is perceived, cares deeply about his public image, cares deeply about being seen as a family man of principle and structure. That man is watching this whole thing unfold in real time and is saying absolutely nothing. Silent. Mute. Ghost. Absent. Going down with this ship in complete silence while the midnight DM champion, the woman he lives with, types explicit content in strangers' inboxes trying to prove he was under her sheets. And he cannot pick up a phone and say, stop. He cannot pick up a phone and say, not on my name. He cannot pick up a phone and do anything, because if he tries to correct her, he loses her, and if he does not correct her, he loses whatever fragment of the public image he thinks he still owns. That is the trap he built for himself with his own hands, brick by brick, over years. Remy Ma, on the other hand, did not have to log on for a single second of any of this. Remy Ma did not have to reply. Remy Ma did not have to sub. Remy Ma did not have to comment. Remy Ma did not have to press one button on one app. Remy Ma got the shout-out, got the crowd, got the Cardi B hug, got the Gucci, got the viral moment, got the blog headlines, and did not put one syllable in one stranger's inbox to earn any of it. That, baby, is the difference between the wife on the paperwork and the woman in the timeline. That is the difference between a marriage the courts recognize and a relationship the internet is currently laughing at. That is the difference between a legacy that will outlive this news cycle and a screenshot that is now taped to Claressa Shields' Wikipedia footnote forever, right next to every other crashout she has been credited with in the last 12 months alone. Now let's talk about Thesis 50 for a second, because that detail matters more than people are giving it credit for. Thesis 50 is 50 Cent's house. It has his name on it. It has his fingerprints on it. It is the fan site he built and stamped with his brand almost 2 decades ago. Papoose is not a neutral visitor there. Papoose has publicly gone at 50 Cent. Claressa Shields has publicly gone at 50 Cent. That is the enemy camp for both of them. And yet Papoose was allegedly on 50 Cent's own fan site at midnight, scrolling the timeline, watching content about his estranged wife's ovation trend upward in real time, and could not resist reposting it. That is not a coincidence. That is not a bored scroll on a slow Tuesday. That is a man who could not stop himself from touching the very stove he keeps swearing he never goes near. And the fact that he deleted the repost minutes later is not a save. The delete is the confession. The delete is the proof that he knew what he had just done and knew what it looked like from the outside. You do not delete something you are proud of. You delete something you regret. You delete something you should never have posted in the first place. And then the fan sent the screenshot. And Claressa Shields, instead of letting Papoose sit in his own quiet embarrassment, decided to detonate a second bomb on top of his first one. Papoose made a private embarrassment. Claressa Shields made it a public event. Papoose made a whisper. Claressa Shields made a headline. Papoose lit a match. Claressa Shields poured the gasoline can on top of it. And the internet is not confused about who did what damage to whom. Papoose pressed a button and hit delete. Claressa Shields typed a paragraph and hit send. The paperwork of who blew up whose news cycle tonight is not ambiguous. Claressa Shields lit that match all by herself, then handed the timeline the accelerant, then stood back and watched the fire. And I want to swing back to Angela Yee for a second, because that interview has now become the ghost that follows Claressa Shields around every single time she opens the app. On Angela Yee's show, in front of a camera, in front of an audience, in front of the entire internet, Claressa Shields told us she was done. Done with responding. Done with DMs, done with engaging in negativity. Done with letting people bait her. She said she was going to be more humble, more grateful, more mature. She said she had learned her lesson. She said she had grown. She said she understood the assignment. And Angela Yi, being the pro that she is, let her say every word of it. Angela Yi did not push, did not badger, did not accuse. Angela Yi let Claressa Shields build her own promise on tape, in her own words, at her own pace, in her own voice. That tape is now the receipt. That tape is now the mirror. Every single time Claressa Shields opens a DM and starts typing back to a stranger, that Angela Yi interview is standing right behind her holding up a sign that says, "You told us you were done." Every explicit sentence typed to a fan is another line drawn through that promise in red marker. Every slur used is another crack in the leaf she claimed to have turned. The Angela Yi interview did not just fail to save Claressa Shields' image. The Angela Yi interview is now the exact document being used to prove that she never meant a single word of what she said on that couch. And every crash-out she posts adds another citation to it. And the loyalty cosplayers in her comments section, the ones who show up under every crash-out to type, "Queen," and "protect her at all costs," they are not helping her. They are hurting her. They are the ones convincing her that this behavior is a personality. They are the ones telling her that every time she snaps back in a DM she is being unbothered, when the actual definition of unbothered is not typing at all. They are the ones treating the meltdown like it is a movement. And what they are actually doing is feeding a woman with a public microphone the private permission slip to keep making it worse. Because if the choir keeps clapping, why would she stop singing? And so she does not stop. She just types louder. She just types longer. She just types more. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the timeline, Remy Ma has done the one thing that the Papoose and Claressa arrangement absolutely cannot compete with. She has stayed still. She has not posted a subliminal about Claressa Shields. She has not clapped back at Papoose. She has not made a video. She has not gone on a podcast. She has not sat down for an exclusive. She has not addressed a single letter of the situation. Remy Ma is doing what wives on the paperwork are able to do. She is letting the paperwork speak for her. And the paperwork is speaking loudly enough that Cardi B is tagging her, the crowd is roaring for her, the timeline is defending her, and the estranged husband is quietly reposting her from a fan site at midnight. That is a mic drop that Remy Ma did not have to pick up a mic to make. And can we talk about the Gucci? Because the Gucci was not an accident. The Gucci was armor. The Gucci was punctuation. The Gucci was Remy Ma standing in a venue full of thousands of screaming Cardi B fans and telling every single person watching, "I am not spending one night of sleep on any of this." A woman spiraling in DMs cannot dress like that. A woman spiraling in DMs cannot stand next to Cardi B like that. A woman spiraling in DMs cannot look up at the balcony and take the ovation like that. Remy Ma dressed the message. Remy Ma wore the message. Remy Ma walked the message. Remy Ma photographed the message. And the message was, the wife is fine, the wife has always been fine, the wife will continue to be fine, and the wife does not need to say one word to any of you to prove any of it. Let me hit you with something else that everybody has been sliding past. Papoose has, by all reporting and by his own public presence, been carefully image managed for years and years. Careful captions. Careful presence. Careful hand-holding of his public brand. Careful curation of the family man persona he built. And here is a man who is now attached to a partner whose contribution to his public image is midnight DM crashouts, explicit paragraphs to strangers, slurs on tap, and viral screenshots by breakfast. Papoose spent years polishing the shoe. Claressa Shields dropped the whole shoe in a puddle in the last 30 seconds of the story. And Papoose has to sit there, silent, because the second he defends himself he abandons her, and the second he abandons her he confirms every single thing the internet has been saying about the paperwork the whole entire time. He is trapped inside the exact silence he chose. He is locked inside the exact box he built. And now let's talk about the divorce filing one more time, because I want to explode the little myth around it once and for all right here on this microphone. Filing a document is not the same as receiving a ruling. Anyone with 15 minutes and an internet connection can generate a filing in most jurisdictions in this country. A filing is an intention. A ruling is an outcome. Claressa Shields keeps swinging the filing around like it is a signed and stamped decree, and it is not. It is a piece of paper with a claim on it, sitting in a system that has not moved on it in any way we can independently verify. That is not divorce. That is theater. That is a costume of divorce. That is a filing that has been dressed up in the vocabulary of divorce to make the timeline flinch. And every single time Claressa Shields uses that word to shut down a critic, she is spending a currency she does not actually have in her account. Because the second any real reporter follows up on the docket, the whole shield collapses in on itself. The paperwork doesn't lie. And I do want to defend the strategy for a second, because I understand why she reaches for that line. It is the only card left in the deck she is playing with. If you cannot prove marriage, waive the divorce filing. If you cannot prove commitment, waive the divorce filing. If you cannot prove exclusivity, waive the divorce filing. It is a rhetorical shield that only works on people who do not check. And every single time Claressa Shields uses it, she is banking on the audience not bothering to check. But the audience is checking now. This crash out made absolutely sure of that. Because you cannot type explicit content to a stranger at midnight without inviting every single person in the reply thread to go pull the docket the very next morning. She detonated her own alibi with her own thumbs. She lit the fuse on her own defense. Now let me tell you what I think is really happening here, because this is not just a spat. This is not just a bad night. This is a pattern. This is a repeat offense. This is the same crash out we have seen every single time Remy Ma is even accidentally in the frame of a story. And it tells us something about the internal state of the situation. Confident women do not crash out over another woman's ovation. Content women do not detonate at another woman's Gucci. Settled women do not need to prove where a man slept last night by typing sex to a stranger they cannot even verify. Claressa Shields keeps crashing out because Remy Ma keeps existing, and there is no version of this arrangement that survives Remy Ma existing peacefully. If Remy Ma is calm, then Claressa Shields is the storm. If Remy Ma is Gucci, then Claressa Shields is DMs. If Remy Ma is wife, then Claressa Shields is a filing without a ruling. Every time Remy Ma stands still, Claressa Shields becomes the entire noise floor of the news cycle, and the noise is not flattering. It never has been. And Papoose. Let me come back to Papoose one more time. Because a man who reposts and deletes at midnight on his estranged wife's viral moment is not a man who is at peace with the choice he made. A man at peace does not go looking. A man at peace does not scroll to the source. A man at peace does not touch the repost button. And a man at peace absolutely does not post a middle finger emoji on a fan site owned by his declared enemy just to touch the story from a distance and pretend nobody was going to notice. Papoose is not at peace. Papoose is a man who is standing next to one door and staring at the other. And every single time Remy Ma walks past that other door, Papoose reaches for a button he swore he would not reach for. And every time he reaches, he confesses. Every time he touches, he tells. And Claressa Shields, standing right there in the room with him, sees the reach every time. And that is the real reason she is in the DMs at midnight typing paragraphs. That is the real reason she is typing sex to strangers. That is the real reason the leaf turned back over so fast it left skid marks. Because she knows what she just watched him reach for. She knows what the repost meant. She knows what the delete meant. She knows what the timing meant. And she cannot say any of that out loud, so she says it sideways in a stranger's inbox with a slur and a graphic paragraph and a lie about where he was sleeping. That is not the behavior of a woman who owns the situation. That is the behavior of a woman who is terrified she does not. And to the comment section cavalry, the ones who will show up under this video swinging on my name and defending Claressa Shields until the wheels fall off the whole car, I have one question for you, and I want you to answer it in the comments honestly. If your girl was in her right place, if your girl was in her secure home, if your girl was in a settled arrangement, would she be typing what she typed? Would she be reaching for the slur? Would she be dropping explicit content on a stranger she cannot verify? Would she be constructing a bedroom alibi for a man who is legally somebody else's husband? Ask yourself that in front of a mirror. Then answer yourself honestly. And if the honest answer is no, then you are not defending a woman. You are enabling a spiral. And the spiral is not going to stop until the choir goes silent long enough for her to hear how loud she has actually been. Let me sew this whole thing shut for you, because we are almost at the door, and I want to make sure you leave here with every single receipt in your pocket. Cardi B tagged Remy Ma, not Claressa Shields. Papoose lurked on 50 Cent's fan site, reposted the moment, and deleted it in a panic. A fan sent Claressa Shields the screenshot. Claressa Shields, 5 months into a promise she made on Angela Yee's own set, crashed out in the DMs, dropped the R-word on a stranger, and typed explicit sexual content about a man who is still legally married to Remy Ma to prove where he slept last night. The blogs had it inside the hour. The Angela Yee promise is dead. The divorce filing is still just a filing. The docket has not moved. The Gucci is undefeated. The paperwork doesn't lie. And Remy Ma, through all of it, did not type a single word. So here are the questions I need you to drop in the comments, because I read every single one of them and this tea is way too hot to drink alone tonight. Question 1. Claressa Shields sat on Angela Yee's couch and promised us the leaf had turned. How many more midnight crashouts are we going to sit through before we accept that the leaf was never real, or is there still one honest observer left who believes the next promise will stick this time? Question 2. If Papoose was truly at home the whole time, why did Claressa Shields feel the need to prove it in a stranger's inbox at midnight with explicit content and a slur? Does that read like a woman in a secure home, or does that read like a woman who watched a repost hit the timeline and understood exactly what it meant the second she saw it? Question 3. If the filing is a real divorce, why has it not moved? And if it has not moved, then what exactly is Claressa Shields waving around every time she gets challenged on the marriage that is still, right now, on the books? Drop your answers below. Argue with each other. Fight it out in the reply threads. Because this is not a story that closes with one video. This is a story that is going to hand us a new chapter the very next time Remy Ma exists in a room without asking permission from anybody. And if you want the receipts on the last 3 chapters of this exact same pattern, because this is not the first crash out and it is absolutely not going to be the last one either, tap the next one on the shelf. I am walking you through every single receipt, every single filing, every single deleted repost, and every single Angela Yee broken promise, in order, one at a time, until the paperwork tells us the whole story from front to back. Tap it while it is hot. Tap it while the choir is still singing. Because by the time we meet back here, Claressa Shields is going to hand us another page, Papoose is going to reach for another button, and Remy Ma, from wherever she is standing that day, is going to keep saying absolutely nothing at all. The paperwork doesn't lie. And baby, tonight, the paperwork read out loud. And before I let you tap out of this video, I want to leave you with one more layer to sit with, because I keep coming back to it in my own head and it will not leave me alone. The most damning receipt in this whole story is not the deleted repost. The most damning receipt is not the middle finger emoji. The most damning receipt is not even the slur or the explicit paragraph or the alibi typed into a stranger's inbox at midnight. The most damning receipt is Remy Ma's silence. Because silence, in a story this loud, is the loudest thing in the room. Silence is the sound of a woman who does not need to defend herself because the calendar is already defending her. Silence is the sound of a woman who has been in this game long enough to know that when the other side is typing, you do not have to type back. Silence is the sound of a wife on the paperwork letting the paperwork do the talking. And Claressa Shields could learn that lesson tomorrow. Claressa Shields could log off tonight and never open that DM folder again and the whole story would starve inside of a week. Claressa Shields could put the phone in a drawer, lace up in a gym, focus on the boxing career she keeps swearing is the priority, drop a real album rollout, and let the internet forget every single one of these midnight paragraphs. But she will not. Because the choir will not let her. Because the algorithm will not let her. Because the version of herself she has built on this app is a version that needs the fight to feel like a person. And every day she wakes up and picks the fight instead of the silence is another day she hands Remy Ma another win Remy Ma did not have to ask for. Remy Ma got the concert. Remy Ma got the Cardi B tag. Remy Ma got the Gucci. Remy Ma got the ovation. Remy Ma got the paperwork. Remy Ma got the silence. And silence, in this story, is a full house. Claressa Shields is sitting across the table with a filing, a DM screenshot, and a slur, and she is trying to convince the whole room she has the winning hand. But every single person watching the game already knows. Papoose already knows. The blogs already know. The comment sections already know. And somewhere, Remy Ma already knew before any of us did. So tap that like, Drop those 3 answers in the comments, share this with the group chat that has been sending each other the screenshot all day, and I will see you back here the very next time somebody in this triangle picks up a phone they should have left face down on the nightstand. Because they will. They always do. The paperwork doesn't lie. And it never has.